Inguinal hernia. First of all, let us know what is a hernia. Hernia is defined as abnormal protrusion of normal contents through the wall, which can be a normal or a weakened wall. Normally, the openings are inguinal ring and the femoral ring, which can be weakened and can cause hernia. Abnormally, they can be weak because of any congenital abnormality or trauma, or after an incision, after being operated, there is an incision and that can cause weakening and cause incisional hernia, or increase intra-abdominal pressure because of coughing, constipation, abdominal distension can cause hernia. The types of hernia are from the inguinal region, it is the inguinal hernia, umbilical region, it is the umbilical hernia, femoral hernia, incisional hernia. There are other less common hernia as well. Recurrent hernia is the hernia where once it has occurred and operated, still there can be hernia from the same site again, and that is known as recurrent hernia. This is just to show you all the regions: epigastric hernia from the epigastrium, umbilicus hernia, umbilical, incisional hernia, inguinal, and the femoral hernia. Spigelian hernia is a hernia through the tissue that separates the two group of abdominal muscles. That is, these are the other rectus group of muscles here and the oblique group of muscles. In between these two, there is a small gap, and that a hernia from that is known as Spigelian hernia, which is very rare. Here we are going to concentrate on the inguinal hernia. So what are the types of inguinal hernia? The types of inguinal hernia are indirect inguinal hernia and direct inguinal hernia. Indirect inguinal hernia, it passes through, now this is the superficial deep inguinal ring, and this is the superficial inguinal ring. This is medial, this is lateral. Hernia which passes through the deep inguinal ring, traversing the canal and coming out from the superficial inguinal ring is known as indirect inguinal hernia. Hernia which comes from the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, in the middle it enters the inguinal canal now, and then it is coming from the superficial inguinal ring. This is known as a direct inguinal hernia, and this is an indirect inguinal hernia. We have seen that there is an inferior epigastric vessel here. This is wrongly shown. The inferior epigastric is like this. So this is the Hessel-Backus triangle, the rectus muscle, the inferior epigastric vessel, and the inguinal ligament. Hernia coming from here is the direct inguinal hernia through the Hessel-Backus triangle. And this hernia is known as the indirect inguinal hernia. Hernia coming from the lateral to the inferior epigastric vessel is indirect hernia, and medial to the inferior epigastric vessel is direct hernia, asked in your MCQ. Difference between indirect and direct, we know that it leaves the abdominal cavity, we said, lateral to the vessels, medial to the vessel. It goes through the deep inguinal ring, inguinal canal, and then the superficial inguinal ring, and direct through the Hessel-Backus triangle. Indirect is most common as compared to direct. This is just to show you the Hessel-Backus triangle. Sorry, here, this. The rectus sheath, yeah, rectus abdominis muscle ka lateral border, inguinal ligament, and this is the inferior epigastric. This, what we can see here, is the obliterated umbilical ligament. Umbilical artery, which is known as the medial umbilical ligament. This is dividing the triangle into two, the medial and the lateral. So direct hernia is divided into medial and lateral. So medial is medial to this ligament, and lateral hernia is lateral to the ligament. Okay. So this is to show you. Deep inguinal ring hai. So this is the deep inguinal, this is the inferior epigastric artery, this is the obliterated umbilical artery. Coming in between these two. And here if you can see, both are on one side, inferior epigastric artery and the ligament. Okay, so this is the medial inguinal hernia. Also what we can see is, more medial is the hernia, the covering of the hernia changes. Here we know it is the fascia, of course, This is the parietal peritoneum. This is the fascia transversalis, cremasteric fascia, and the external spermatic fascia. We have seen that these three fascias are continuation of the external oblique aponeurosis, the internal oblique, and the transversus abdominis. This internal oblique and the transversus abdominis here. But in the medial direct hernia, this cremasteric is replaced by the conjoint tendon, if you can see here. And here what we can see is the fascia transversalis, internal spermatic fascia. So we'll see the coverings of the indirect hernia. Parietal peritoneum, internal spermatic fascia, cremasteric fascia, external spermatic fascia. External spermatic fascia, continuation of the external oblique aponeurosis, cremasteric fascia, conjoint tendon, and the internal spermatic fascia, continuation of the fascia transversalis. Difference between indirect and direct, as we said, everything is the same, except here, internal spermatic fascia, there is fascia transversalis, and here for the cremasteric fascia, there is the conjoint tendon. That is the difference in the covering. Hernia or the inguinal hernia is further divided as complete or incomplete. A complete hernia means it has reached the tunica vaginalis, or it has come out through the superficial inguinal ring and it has reached the tunica vaginalis. Incomplete means the contents have not crossed the superficial inguinal. And it is mostly seen that direct hernias are always complete. This is to show you this, what we have discussed just now, skin and the fascias. This is about the tunica albuginea, and this is the tunica vaginalis, which has got two layers, the parietal and the visceral layer. Difference between the indirect and the direct inguinal hernia. This is taken from Vishram Singh. Very nicely tabulated. The indirect hernia passes from the deep inguinal ring to the superficial inguinal ring. Direct is from the posterior inguinal wall. This is pear shaped, direct is globular shape. Indirect mostly reaches to the scrotum, that is complete, and this is rarely scrotal, that is it is incomplete. Direction is of course like that of a canal, inguinal canal. Oblique, that is downwards, forwards, and medially, and this is direct down. It is directed forwards. The neck of the hernial sac, that is from where the hernia comes out. This is the hernial sac, and this is known as the neck, the narrowest part. So it lies inferior, lateral to the inferior epigastric vessels, and this lies medial. Of course, we know that the epigastric vessel, inferior epigastric artery, is important to know whether the hernia is direct or indirect. Reducibility. Indirect hernia sometimes are irreducible and direct are always reducible, which means that if there is a protrusion seen on the anterior abdominal wall, the patient, when he lies down, the hernia automatically disappears. Okay, so that is the contents go inside, that is reducible. Later stage, they have to be reduced with with the hands, that is manipulation. Manipulation we have to do, and then the hernia reduces. That is also known as reducible. Irreducible means the hernia does not reduce on its own. Indirect occurs in young age and direct occurs in middle age. Internal ring occlusion test is positive and the test is negative. What is internal ring occlusion test? Means internal ring means they want to say the deep inguinal ring. So the patient is asked to lie down, reduce the hernia, and at the position of the deep inguinal ring, a finger is kept on it and the ring is blocked. Then the patient is asked to stand. If the protrusion is seen or a bulge is seen, means it is a direct hernia. If bulge is not seen, means it can be indirect. So what we will do is bulge is not seen. Now I remove the finger. Now the finger is removed and the bulge is seen, means that it is indirect inguinal hernia that is coming from the deep inguinal ring to the superficial. So this means that the internal ring occlusion test is positive and indirect it is negative. Difference between inguinal and femoral. Inguinal hernia is more common in males. Here, because the ring, superficial inguinal ring and the deep is smaller in females. And femoral hernia is more common in females. Here, the femoral ring is slightly larger as compared to the males. The protrusion of the hernial sac is into the inguinal canal, of course, and here it is into the femoral canal. So if you see the neck of the inguinal canal, it lies medial to the pubic tubercle. This is the pubic tubercle. Just above the pubic tubercle is the superficial inguinal ring. That is the reason why inguinal hernia has to pass and it lies medial to the pubic tubercle. Whereas the femoral ring lies lateral to the pubic tubercle. So the inguinal hernia, the hernia or the pouch of the hernia, the neck of the protrusion of the hernia, it lies lateral and below to the pubic tubercle. This can be asked in MC. Clinical findings are they occur at a weak spot. Of course, we have discussed this. They reduce on lying down or with slight pressure. They have an expansile cuff impulse. This is what we usually see when you have a patient with hernia. This is a hernia which is seen, umbilical hernia, and after some time it goes down on its own, and this is known as reducible. So as far as first time BBS is concerned, what is important exam point of view is the rectus sheath, inguinal ligament, inguinal canal, inguinal hernia, direct, indirect inguinal hernia, coverings of the hernia, Hasselbalch's triangle, femoral and inguinal hernia. This is asked in your theory, viva, as well as MCQ. PG NEET, of course, these MCQ questions are asked. Thank you.